1942 is a classic, iconic arcade game from Capcom, and Aviate has teamed up with Capcom to offer a limited edition automatic watch powered by a Japanese Seiko TMI NH35 automatic movement. The Flyboy watch build is that of a classic field pilot watch twisted through the aesthetics, form and color from the 1942 universe of wartime aviation gameplay. Illuminated hands as well as scratch resistant sapphire lens topping a marine grade 316L stainless steel case. One of two options. This is a numbered piece and will go fast. If you want more information, you can go to their website. The link is below. Sign up today for priority access. This is a numbered piece. Only 300 watches per color will be made. And in the link below, you can find out more information and sign up today. An arcade game that I grew up with as a young child was 1942. And in today's video, I'm taking a look at all the ports from this arcade classic. Everything from the classic NES version to obscure computers I never heard of. And I'm going to be sharing some footage from each version. And in the comments below, you can let me know which one did you grow up with? Do you remember playing this classic game? And I'm also going to be showing some unofficial ports of this game. Had a lot of fun putting together this video. Let's take a look. 1942 was a huge hit back in the day, and it's been offered on several compilations, most recent on Capcom Arcade Stadium. And here it is, and as you can see, it has a World War II theme in which you are trying to get to Tokyo to destroy the Japanese air fleet. There are 32 stages. It is very tough and highly recommend playing this with an arcade stick. An early release for the NES. I remember playing this back in the day, and even though it's not arcade perfect and has its issues, this scrolling shooter was a success. Over 1 million copies sold, and I remember playing it and being satisfied back in the day. You get various power-ups, you can get quad shot, as well as other abilities. You have an evasive maneuver, which is the big kind of thing with this arcade classic. I don't have a lot of experience with the Amstrad color personal computer, but here it is. Here's the port for 1942, published by Elite in 1986. And you know what? The reviews on this, looking up the reviews online, weren't great, as it was kind of claimed to be a little repetitive. Important to note that this was only 10 pounds and offered on cassette tape, so back in the day I would have been totally satisfied as the price was right. I don't know what the consensus is from Specky fans, but playing the ZX Spectrum version of 1942, it's great. I think this little classic microcomputer was so capable and had so many great hits. You know, literally everything was made for it back in the day, and I would have been totally happy with this port. Another one ported by Elite. Did you play this one? Also, hard to find an original price for this. Did you get this back in the day, and how much did it cost? Another port that has fan split. I did not grow up with this port of the Commodore 64 version of 1942, but wow, super fast, and I was very impressed with the graphics and the theme. Humming that theme, playing this, it's tough. It's really tough. Moves really fast. So I looked up reviews, and they were kind of all over the place. People loved it. People hated it. You know, the aspect ratio of the information on the top, people had issues with that, but overall I thought this was a solid port and well worth checking out. There's also a series of ports of 1942 on Japanese home computers back in the day, and first up is the PC-88 version. And you know what, I thought the graphics are okay. It has choppy scrolling, but I think this is fairly adequate if you put it in the sense of, you know, what was available back in the day. You know, if I played this on my computer and it was the only port I could play, I'd be okay with that. Another Japanese computer, the Sharp X1, had this, a 1942 port, and man, this runs slow, at least in emulation. So hard to say on actual hardware, but if it ran like this on actual hardware, I would be rather disappointed. Definitely the PC-88 version ran a lot better. And you know, the graphics look okay, you know, definitely detailed, but yeah, this is kind of a mess. Another fairly obscure computer, the FM7, sold in Japan and Spain, and here is 1942. Unfortunately, I couldn't get this to play right in emulation, but here it is, fairly choppy, but you know what? Let me know if you played this port and what you think of it in the comments below. One thing I like about looking at these different ports is the uniqueness of each one. You know, the MSX computer one, while it has some choppy scrolling, has some pretty fast gameplay, and it looks like individual sprites don't have a lot of color depth, but you know what, I totally would enjoy playing this back in the day, as you know, it comes down to gameplay. Is it fun to play? This one has, it looks like red bullets, and you know what, I think it's a good representation of the arcade classic. And what's cool is there was an upgraded MSX2 release, which makes it look closer to the arcade in terms of graphics, and wow, this is amazing. And you know, 1942 was a very popular game, and so there was a lot of computer ports, and it's just neat to see the little differences. I didn't even know about this release, and so researching it and finding it, so awesome to see that this was released, and I totally would have played this back in the day. I'm actually surprised there wasn't more portable versions of 1942, but this amazing port by Digital Eclipse in 2000 really takes that, like, you know, classic arcade game and does a wonderful job at making it portable. This is fantastic. One of the better ports, actually, in my opinion, and this is totally playable. Highly recommend going and playing this, as it's so enjoyable and one of the better versions I'm showing today. Then he had stuff like this. This is by World of Longplays by Mega Sakura 17, and this is 1942 Joint Strike, and this is not a port of the arcade game, but it takes things from the classic series and kind of puts them all into one classic shooter. This was a 360 game and fairly enjoyable. I definitely would have played this more if I would have known about it back in the day. Then they have stuff like this, and this is Pacific Wings. This is definitely a 1942 knockoff. It's not great. It's on Switch, PC, and various other consoles. Even at free, it's pretty bad. Another unofficial take on the 1942 game is Screamin' Wings, and this is for Atari 8-bit computer line. There was also a remake of this, I do believe, in 2020, making it closer to the arcade look in terms of graphics. Pretty fun, lots of extra power-ups, and I like the mix of gameplay as it spruces it up a bit. Back in 2005, this was made unofficially for the Game Boy Advance and really just shows the capability of that awesome handheld. I know there's a lot of GBA fans that watch this show, and wow, absolutely fantastic port of the arcade, fast and furious gameplay, smooth scrolling, and it's just a great fit. So awesome to see this released. I do believe it was for a competition, but wow, love it and thumbs up. You can find this online and it's free to download. Just an absolute gem, and I love these, you know, special ports that people take on. I know there's a lot others. It's just a small example of what amazing stuff is out there if you look. It is 1942. This can be played in emulation as well as on a 7800 compatible multi-card. I'm using the Dragonfly to show this footage, and wow, absolutely stunning. This is a recent release and just mind blown on what the 7800 can offer. A timeless classic with a 7800 port, and this is just not it. I mean, there's tons of other arcade classic ports. Those are the versions of 1942 that I know of. I might have missed one, but I'm pretty sure I got the majority of the releases. And in the comments below, what was your favorite? What did you grow up with? Did you grow up with the classic arcade game? Or did you play an obscure port? Or unofficial? Did you know of any of these unofficial ports? Had a lot of fun putting this together. Thank you so much. If you like what you see, consider hitting that like and subscribe button and clicking the bell as I'm uploading videos every week. You folks are wonderful and beautiful. Let's keep it positive. This is the Immortal John Hancock, and you take care.